welcome to my YouTube video. I'm sorry, why did I say that? That was so alien. Okay, anyway, I want to talk about why I quit gacha games. I want to talk about first how I feel right now, because I've been playing gacha games for a very long time. You know, all types of gacha games, not just like the Eastern anime stuff. I feel sad. I do. Gacha games definitely have given me some great memories in gaming, I guess, if that means anything. But I feel like one of those parents in 300 that had to throw their baby off the cliff just because it was like deformed or something. I'm sad. But at the same time, I got some free time. You know what I'm saying? Hey, look, it is what it is. That's how I feel right now. You know, oh, my baby, oh man, but you know, oh, man, I get to like, it's quiet. And anyway, sure, you could say, oh, you're just getting old, blah, blah, blah. Okay, all right, sure. I still like food. I still like water. And I, for sure, still like women. So look, those ain't fall off. So why gacha fall off? Is it me or is it the game? I think it's the game. So let's go ahead and get into this. First, I want to talk about the players. I'm going to explain a simple concept, and this is partially the problem with the players, right? The fact that I have to explain this. So when I say gacha players, okay, I don't mean every person who plays gacha, okay? I mean a specific type of person. But you got to understand, in real life, most people understand, yeah, when they say a generalization, they don't mean every person. It's just easier to just say the generalization. With that being said, I think gacha players are the only players in the gaming community that will literally accept eating sprinkled covered, let's use a nice word, dookie. They will eat, that word is just gross. Why did I use that? They will eat crap and love it and act like it's steak and broccoli. But in other communities, if you're a developer in another community, you gotta give them steak, you gotta give them cheesecake and a massage just for them to even download your game. That's how different it is. And I think because of this mentality with the gacha player space, these companies who make these games, they get away with way too much of doing way too little. Yeah, the games look pretty. Yeah, they have big bongos in the game, but guess what? That's not enough. I just don't feel like these games go forward. They just kind of regurgitate the same things over and over and over again, and they don't actually push the games forward. And I think, dude, that is because the players don't speak up. They don't complain. They don't say, hey, we want this, we want this. And this does work. It's just people don't do it. A lot of these players, they do too much worshiping of company. For an example, they'll go, oh, instead of $120 for this character, it's $118. And then literally people in the community go, oh my God, they're so generous. Why are we using the word generous with a company in the first place? It's like with Netflix, like, oh, you get to pay $12, no ads, or you could pay $6 and you get ads. Like, what kind of deal is that? Why are you supporting this? This is trash. I'm not gonna pay you to watch ads. Like, what's going on? And these players do that same thing, and it's terrorist. It's tearing us apart. I'm sorry. That was too much. I'm not trying to make this video to say, oh, you should quit gacha games. I'm just giving you the reason why I quit. I just feel like the games will never progress. They will never become what we all want gacha games to be, just like a full game, like a full complete game, something that you can play that's just not oh, let me log in and do a daily. No, I want it to be more than that. And I don't think they ever will. So this, because of the player base and how they interact with the company, I just don't feel like it will progress at all. I just don't. I don't see it happening ever. Like, I think even games that try to go outside the box, I think they'll always be held back. If you can only do a little to get a lot, why wouldn't you do that? Next, I want to talk about the games feeling like a chore. And every gacha game feels like this eventually. How delusional you are depends on how long this takes. So if you're not very delusional, I'll give about a week, maybe a week or 2 weeks. If you're maximum delusional, maybe a few years. But you ultimately will come to this conclusion. We're like, what am I doing? Why do I feel like I have to log in every single day? And right, you start to hate the game over and over. And I kept feeling this over and over. Of course, I play, like, there's other games, but I'll just use the big ones. Like, I play Genshin Impact over time, over a few years, right? Because we all like the game. I felt, this game kind of felt like a chore. Honkai Impact. No, I mean, ain't nobody playing that. Honkai Star Rail, that one took me about like 6-8 months. And then Zenless Zone Zero, that one, or Wuthering Waves, I guess, that was like 3 months. Zenless Zone Zero, about a month to 2 months. I just feel like, yeah, like these games aren't offering anything to me. They're not offering a unique experience necessarily. Like, the music is good, the art is good, awesome. Like, I feel like you want more out of a game than just, oh, I have to log in every day to get these gems so I can get the next character. Like, it's just kind of annoying to do that. And this will tie into another point I have on, like, okay, if that is going to be your point of playing the game, that make it good, but they aren't good. And we'll talk about that later. But yeah, I just feel like the games feel like chores now. All the events they release take forever. Like, I don't have time to be sitting there for 4 hours clicking through dialogue of NPCs you're just going to delete later. Like, I don't care about these people. You don't flesh out their stories. They don't mean anything. You're just putting them there so the people that want to see the story can feel like they're getting something, but really it's not. They're getting slop. It doesn't matter. No NPC we've ever seen in any game, any Hoyoverse game at least, right? There's a lot of Gacha games out there. They're irrelevant. None of them tie into the story whatsoever at all. And I'll be real, some of the actual characters in the games don't even tie into the stories. They're just there to look good. And maybe that's all you need, sure. But the reason I'm making this is why I quit, right? So of course, this isn't, to me, good. And I don't think it's good for the longevity of the genre as a whole to just have this cycle. But yeah, the games feel like chores. I'm tired of it. I don't want to work when I play games. I want to have fun and have a nice experience. And this system that they have is just not good to me. So yeah. And this one right here is going to get me to some trouble because I know people love the story of these games, but I think you're not in love with the story. I think you're in love with the art and the music. So like when they drop those trailers and they make the character look really cool, you're romanticizing the character and you're like, oh, this is so good. But when you actually look at the story itself, I don't think it's good. Now the lore may be cool, but I just think the stories suck. They're just below mid in my opinion. That's okay. If you like that, that's perfectly fine. I'm not saying you should not like it. I'm just saying why I quit the game, right? And I just realized these stories aren't going nowhere because none of them have endings. None of them ever will have an ending. They will just keep egging it on forever. And I think in order to have a good story, you need to have a conclusion, a beginning, middle, and end. That is how a story works. Like, that's just what makes it good. If it just went on forever, it's like, okay, what are we doing here? Like, why do we just keep adding on top on top? They always try to leave it open, like, oh, we can kind of add that character in later. Like, just end it. Just kill them. Just let them go. It's okay, bro. You can make a new character, bro. Like, stop. Like, can't just make it good and just close the chapter, boom. But I think a lot of these stories, because of it not having an ending and them not wanting to actually like try anything like edgy for the story, they're just bad to me. Before I end this segment right here, I'm gonna say it. Honkai Star Rail story, it ain't that good either. Okay, I know a lot of people try to regard it as good. It's not. Okay, they just got hot girls that you like. The truth is, it's not really that good. Because if I asked you within a paragraph, explain the story, you probably couldn't. You probably couldn't do it. You don't use ChatGPT. One Piece, the Pirate King, right? Naruto, the Hokage. I had a brain fart, but you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, we get it. Goku, he wants to be the strongest, but what the heck are we doing? Can we, like, is it that hard to just put a goal? That way it's like, okay, we're going to go to this goal. But anyway, I don't want to go too much on this. I just feel like the stories are very lackluster. And again, if you like them, that's fine. But I never really liked them. I never thought they were interesting. And that's why a lot of people ask for skip buttons. If they were good, nobody will skip it. Next, I want to talk about the limitations. So I only have 2 examples here. So the first one is more of like a hardware associated example. So a lot of these games, what they like to do to make the most amount of money is target the mobile audience. So when you do that, you limit your game and what it can do, because obviously if you have a game that is too big or has way too much going on, people's phones will just blow up, right? And you can't have that because that's how you make your monies. I think this is bad for gacha games in terms of experience. Now, in terms of money, you know, it's a great idea. I'm gonna just say that. But in terms of experience, I feel like this is just terrible and the games will never go anywhere, because I don't think phones now in our current time, I don't think phones are strong enough to like support, unless you have like a Steam Deck or something like that. I don't really think that they can support these games being what they truly should be at this point, right? Like gacha games should be on top right now, but they're just not. I don't know. They make enough money to where they could do these things, but they just don't. And the next thing I want to talk about is the limitation of what you can do in the game with your characters. So everyone that plays gacha games, you play mainly because you like the characters. Let's be real. That's pretty much why everyone plays these games. And another fun part of this process here is building the characters and customizing them. Now, why am I bringing this up? Well, because when you actually go to customize a character and build them, you can't really do what you want to do. You got to go on Pridwin. You got to look up a guide. Oh, you got to do this. And everyone has the exact same build. Yeah, you might use speed boots or you might use this weapon on this one. Sure. But at the end of the day, there's always going to be one exact optimal build. And I think this is terrible for the games because it made me feel like, why am I playing this? I can't have my own experience in this game. It's just like, I could just watch somebody play and have the same exact experience. And that's true. I've never liked the whole like, now, obviously, if you have a sword character using a sword, or if you have like that makes sense, but I never really liked that. I liked being able to use these stats, and I'll pop something up. Like, you know, like with light cones, you have like these different light cones with different stats, but they're locked behind a class. And it's like, okay, I could make a really cool build if I could access those effects on the light cones. And I'm talking, if you don't play Honkai Star Rail, light cones are from Honkai Star Rail. They're like the weapons, right? And I just thought that would be cool if they allowed you that customization, but they don't. And it's just like, now you're locked into this like 1 to 2 builds. One is like 10% less optimal and one is just perfectly optimal, right? And it's just kind of annoying to deal with. I want to try cool and freaky builds, you know, but you can't, because if you don't, you won't be able to clear the content. And it's just like annoying. You want to clear the content because, I mean, free gems, right? Like, so yeah, so I just think the games are way too limiting. They need to open it up a bit, allow people to customize a little bit more and have a little bit more freedom, because building the character is playing gacha games a lot of the time. Next one, we have no combat depth. So like I said, a lot of these will tie in together. What do I mean by this? A lot of gacha games, they only have they have like 1 to 3 moves, right? Your basic attack, E, Q, whatever, and then like your ultimate or something, right? Like a combination of that. And that's fine for gacha games, especially if you're dropping a lot of characters. But I've always thought like these games could be so much more if they just like added a few more mechanics or something like that, you know? And it just felt extremely lackluster that you have this really cool character and then your imagination goes wild, like, oh, what if they could do this? What could they do this? But they can only like, oh, they just do this little burst, and it's like, you know, it's just like, okay, that's cool. And it's a cool alt animation, but like, come on, it's just a waste. And this character is going to make you $50 million. Like, at least add some extra stuff to it, you know? And I understand this, okay? That gacha games are supposed to be simple. I get that. I get it. But at the same time, it's like, why they got to be simple? Why can't they just be a little bit extra, huh? Why can't you, like, why? But why? Why does it have to be like that? Why can't you do more? Y'all make the most money out of all games, right? Like, one character is the same amount of revenue of like a regular AAA game. One character. You can't add 2 extra moves or like a passive or something, huh? Well, why I just got 2 moves in the auto attack, right? And then I'm gonna get my ult, but I gotta build freaking energy recharge just to access the ult. Like, come on, like, bruh, can't please, right? And this is personal to me. Again, if you're fine with this, that's cool. But to me, I just felt like the characters always could be way more than they are. It is what it is. You can't control that. It's what they want to do with the characters, how they view the game. But for me personally, I have to check out because it's like, I want a little bit more. I mean, League of Legends does this well. You don't have that many abilities with the characters, but like, it's enough to where it's simple, where you can really understand how each character works. And all the tools that you get allow you to outplay people and do cool things and combo the abilities. So like, I don't see why adding 4 abilities instead of 3 is a big deal, or just like 5, but that's just me. Let's move on. My next point here is the shared experience. Now, this can be good for you, but for me, it's bad. I don't like having to build the same exact items and teams as everyone else. Now, of course, the story is going to be the same stuff like that. But like, when I'm fighting the bosses, a lot of the times you kind of have to use the same characters. And this is overall gacha games for the most part, not entirely, but I've noticed this in a lot of games where it's like a little trick they do is they'll release new enemies in the game and they'll make the enemies a specific way to where it's like, oh, if you don't have the new character, then it's not going to be that easy. It's kind of annoying because of course you can spend 30 days grinding artifacts or whatever and get good stuff. But for most people, they're not going to do that. They should be able to build the characters they want to build and still have fun playing the game and clear the content. Or let's just use Honkai Star Rail. What if you really like using Arlon? You like using Arlon and Blade, but because of the new characters, you can't use them because they're not strong enough now. You can't really upgrade them because like only certain artifacts or whatever, or certain light cones work on them. And I just felt like that was cringe. And I think they should open the game up. And I'll give you an example of how this can still work. Let's say Call of Duty. Call of Duty is a super repetitive game and you could look and say, oh, it's boring. But what makes it fun is you can actually make your own like class, right? You can have the same gun as somebody, but you can tweak that gun to how you play, and you can tweak your perks to how you play. And if you want to use a flashbang, you can do that. If you want to camp and you want to put trip mines everywhere, you can do that. Gacha games need to allow you to be free like that, where it's like, yeah, you have the same characters, but we're gonna give you these tools to solve your problems. It doesn't make me feel good knowing that, okay, like everyone else has pretty much the same build as me. And maybe that's like a selfish thing, but I just feel like I play them so that I can like figure out like, ooh, like how do I beat this boss? I shouldn't have to look up a guide. Like I said, going forward, gacha games, if they want to be like refreshing, they need to fix this, in my opinion. In order for me to play again, they need to fix this. Now, this one right here is going to get me into some real trouble because I know a lot of people, they play these games to coom. Okay, that's why they play. But I'm gonna just say it. I think this is ruining the games. These games are losing their substance because sex sells, and they know that. And all they do is just go for the lowest hanging fruit. Oh, we're just going to make the character hot. We're not going to actually make the game good. Now, I'm not a coomer. So if you're a coomer, this is probably a different perspective. I like a reason to play my games. Okay. Thank you very much. A lot of these companies, what they'll do, they'll just make a super coomer game. They'll diminish the quality and they'll just focus on big fat titties, toes, pits, and cheeks. All they do. It's like, dog. Okay. I get it. You like tits. Okay. I get it. But it's like, bro, can we do something in the game? Can we do something in the game now? I'm not saying hot characters are bad. I'm not saying, bongos are bad. Okay, just to be clean here. I'm not saying that. I like those things too. But I think it's way too much now. They like override the game now, where it's just like anytime there's a trailer, that's all they focus on. Oh, look, her toes. You see her toes? She's dangling her toes. Oh, you see, look at her bust. Oh, wow, look. It's like, okay, I get it. That's just how you farm. And then I think it also deters a lot of people from coming in because, let's be real. There's a lot of weird stuff in that genre of type of stuff. There's a lot of weird character body types that they like to, sexualize. And I think that is just not helping at all, especially when you sexualize it. I just think the Coomer is too much these days, or at least I see it increasing exponentially. Zenless Zone Zero, every character's been a girl pretty much they dropped. And it's like, I get it, but it's like, where's the other, like, I thought y'all was going to put other character models have different, like, type of like races, like like the Onis and like all these like different, like even a furry. You had a furry in the game. Like what happened? But now it's just all these hot girls, and that's fine. But it's like, dang, like you just threw your plan away, didn't you? Like you just said no titties. Like come on, bro. And I get it. It's just how you make that money. So yeah. And overall, I just think these games don't particularly progress in a way that keeps it interesting over time. They just kind of oh, here's an event for the new character. That's it. And then after 3 days, you just don't really play. You might check in for 10 minutes, but it's not really that interesting over time. And once you realize that gameplay loop, I feel like, at least for me personally, it gets boring. And it's not changing how I play the game. It's just changing the color of enemy that I fight. And I just don't like that. So yeah, that is exactly why I quit Gacha games. And I never really know how to end these videos, if you want to sub or anything, but I think I'll leave you with this. Okay. This is very important information I've never shared with anyone else. Okay. I'm in the thick of it. Everybody knows. They know me where it snows. I skied in and they froze. I don't know nothing about no ice. I'm just cold. 40 something milli subs or so, I've been told. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Why did I do that? I just lost. Why did I do that? Okay. Bye. I'm out.